Lubinaka, Madam, welcome to my HIS 703 presentation for semester 2, 2025. My research presentation is on historical migration patterns in the Pacific, and in this research I will be focusing on Gilmet and Solomon Island labor migration in the Pacific, and particularly in Fiji. Just a brief introduction into my research topic. Migration has always been a defining feature of Pacific history, and today is no different. So, in having said that, I will explore two significant case studies in the Pacific, and particularly in Fiji, and these two are the pyramid system in Fiji and also Solomon Island labor migration. It's important to note that these stories are not just historical, they both continue to shape the identities, cultures, and politics in the region. And understanding them helps us to grasp the roots of Pacific resilience and also diversity. The research aim, my aim for this research is to uncover the motivations behind colonial labor migration and also explore the lived experiences of those involved, and also look at the long-term legacies these movements left on Pacific societies. I also try to focus on its connection to from the past to the present, and by doing this, I hope to understand the drivers and also the experiences and legacies of colonial labor migration that transpired in the Pacific. Research objectives. We'll break this down into three objectives. First, identifying the causes of migration under the Pyramid system and Solomon Islands labor schemes. And secondly, exploring the personal and collective experiences of the workers involved. And thirdly, assessing how these migrations have shaped Pacific cultures and communities over time. Just a brief overview and a little bit on the abstract of my research project. Now, migration didn't just move people, it did more than that. It reshaped their identities and also the communities that were involved. And by combining archival research with oral history through the methods, we gain or will be able to gain a dual perspective. And one of them is from the official records, and another one from the lived memories of those involved. And the findings from these would hope to reveal both exploitation and the resilience of both the people involved, and show how cultural blending created lasting legacies. A little bit on the research background that I carry out or will carry out. Between the years 1879 and 1916, over 60,000 Indians were brought to Fiji. When we think about that, it's quite a lot. And they were brought to Fiji under the system which we know now as the Pyramid system. And not only that, thousands of Solomon Islanders also were recruited. And both these uh, um, ethnic communities were brought to Fiji to work on two very, very significant, let's say, primary industries that drove the economy during that or those colonial periods, and one of which is still the very backbone of Fiji's economy today. And having said that, the Gilmit system focused on the sugarcane plantations. Now these Indian laborers came to work and toil the land and to make uh, and drive what the sugarcane industry is today in Fiji. And secondly, the Solomon Islanders who were brought in to work on the cotton plantations, which unfortunately did not live out past the colonial period. Now, both of these ethnic groups were brought in forcibly to work on these plantations, not only Fiji, but across the Pacific and also across the globe. And these migrants were marked by displacement. And this is one of the very significant aspect that was noted in this research, that there was mass displacement and there were stories of survival and also uh, the revelations of how these ethnic communities were able to adapt into the new environment in which they were forcibly forced to be a part of. And it talks about resilience, talks about courage and faith, and it also talks about how people can adapt in new places um, in certain points of time. Let's look at a little bit on Gilmit system in Fiji. Now, the Gilmit system was a form of indentured labor, bringing in Indians to Fiji under very harsh conditions. And the workers faced grueling labor and poor living conditions. Now, when we talk about displacement, um, currently there were quite a number of displacements that occurred along the way, and three of them were uh, particularly, for example, first displacement happened when they were separated from their families back in their homeland, forcibly, yes, of course, separated, and the second one was along the way, most of them in the ship where they parted ways, particularly in the ocean, where they were thrown from one ship to the other, and having that, most of them did not realize that some of them had gone in the other directions, while regrettably having the thought that they were still in the same boat, headed to the same destination. And the third displacement happened when they reached those um, countries where they were forced to work. For example, in Fiji, the um, the trading place, I would say, where these rich merchants or colonial powers went and auctioned and bought these laborers through auction um, in places like Nuku'alofa Island for Fiji. And this is where the third displacement took place, where some of them, or most of them, were scattered all over the country. And it's important to know that because they were here for the first time, um, having been separated in Nuku'alofa Island meant that most of them would not be able to see each other. And I was fortunate enough to have served in the island of Vulnerable for a few years, and I came across this particular family very famous in Fiji, known to have also come through this system. Uh, Lady that was known by Sundaya, and her descendants. They still live in Vunumbalavu till today. They've intermarried. They've married into the communities in Vunumbalavu, and they are now part of the culture and the traditions of Vunumbalavu. And it's quite surprising to see how fluent they are in the Fijian dialect, particularly in the Vunumbalavu dialect. So it was one of the, I would say, satisfying moments for me to see as a history student in which at this point in time we actually see history unfold in front of me, to be able to see this particular family who still live in Vunumbalavu till today. And yet, from this adversity emerged the Indo-Fijian community, which has undoubtedly become a vital part of Fiji's not only cultural but political landscape as well. For the Solomon Islands labor migration, um, Solomon Islanders were often coerced or tricked into labor migration, just like the Dermitians. This is a practice through a practice known as blackbirding, and they were sent to places like Queensland, Samoa, and Fiji, and also the parts of the Pacific. And despite the violence and exploitation, these migrations led to the formation of a diasporic community or diasporic communities that still exist today. And one very um, uh, famous example of a community, or two rather, in Fiji is the local community here in Suva. And I believe there's one in Lautoka as well. The methods and the sources. This research draws from three domain sources, or three main sources, from the colonial archival records, from the Fiji Museum, also the Fiji Archives, and also the oral testimonies from descendants and the communities, and also academic literature. Together, they provide a comprehensive view of both the systematic structures and personal stories behind these migrations. Key findings: both the Girmit and Solomon Islands labor systems were exploitative, yet they also led to the emergence of new identities and communities. And migrants adapted to their new environments, and their descendants also carried forward a legacy of resilience and cultural richness. We talk about cultural impacts. Migration led to a cultural blending. There were new languages formed, new foods, and also traditions emerged, because most of them were cut off from their original cultures and traditions and homeland in this case. So there was a new cultural blending that happened, and it blended with the communities that they had come to be a part of. And these influences helped shape multicultural Pacific identities, some of which we clearly see today in the Pacific. And today we see these legacies in the vibrant cultures of Fiji and also particularly in Solomon Islands. The historical significance of the research: these migrations didn't just affect individuals, they reshaped the entire societies, they influenced demographics, the economies, and the politics across the Pacific. And it's very important that by understanding these histories, it will help us to see migration as a shared Pacific experience, not just isolated events that happen at a particular point in time. In conclusion, The Gilmet system and the Solomon Island labor migration are central to Pacific history today because they reflect themes of displacement, diaspora, and as mentioned earlier, resilience and also identity. And by studying them, we gain insight into what it means to belong in the Pacific today. And to help me successfully complete and achieve this research, these are my references that I used. And if there are no questions, then thank you so much for listening. Nakawale.